Hello. Welcome, everyone. Augusta Partnership for Children again welcomes everyone to our fourth virtual Parent Cafe. Today we have the illustrious Sergeant David Milford. He's been with the Richmond County Sheriff Office since 1998. He's completed 1.5 years at the jail, 13 years on road patrol, 3.5 years in community service, and 5 years road patrol administration. This September will mark his 23rd years of service. So we want to give you an early congratulations, Sergeant Milford. And without further ado, we welcome Sergeant David Milford.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the Augusta Partnership for Children for letting me participate in this program. Um, as she said, I've been with the Sheriff's Office since 1998. I was in the jail when New Year's 1999. And right after that, I went to the academy and started my road patrol part of my career. All of it was on night shift. So the only time I really went to a school was when the alarm went off. Um, So when I was asked to put something together for back to school safety, I got online and I went to the National Safety Council webpage, and they had a lot of information. Some of it you may already know. All of it is important, and hopefully after this presentation we can all be better drivers and walkers and let your kids know exactly what to do by whatever means they're getting to school. So the important part is, not only are they getting to school, but they're having to come home from school. When I was 6 years old, I used to walk to school. It was about 3/4 of a mile, and against my mother's wishes, I insisted on walking to school, and I did for about 5 years. I have a friend who lives next door to a school, and the school won't let his kids walk to school, so he has to drive them right around the corner every day. So transportation safety is important. So whether they walk or ride a bicycle or take the bus to school, it's extremely important that they take proper safety precautions. And here are some tips to make sure your travel safety to school. So as I said, I used to walk to school. There were no sidewalks, and this was a long time ago. This would have been in the early 70s. So one important thing to do is to review the safety rules with your kids and make sure they know, and even practice with them if they're going to walk to school the first few times so they understand what to do and what not to do. If there's a sidewalk, use it. That's what they're there for. If there's no sidewalk, you want to walk on the side facing traffic so you can see the cars as they're coming down the road, not coming up behind you. And before you cross the street, you want to stop, look, and listen. That's the way I was taught. So you stop, you look left, you look right, just to make sure there's no cars coming. When it's safe to do so, you cross the street as quickly as possible. Another thing to add there would be the safest place to do that would be at a stop sign or a crosswalk if there's one available. And make sure your kids make eye contact with the drivers. Even wave to them. There's nothing wrong with being friendly. You can wave and make sure that they see you before they cross. And stay alert. Don't avoid distracted walking. And I've got another slide that'll cover that in a minute. So I think there's still some children that ride bikes to school if they're close enough. Bikes, they have to obey the same rules as everybody else, even the cars. So if there's a stop sign, somebody on a bicycle is supposed to stop at the stop sign. But we have to watch out for them because, as we all know, kids will just do things without thinking sometimes. So if your child is riding a bike, you want to ride on the right side of the road with traffic. So the cars are coming up behind you. You want to be in a single file if there's more than one of you. Come to a complete stop before crossing the street, or even walk your bike across the street just to be on the safe side. Stay alert, avoid distracted riding, and make sure your child wears a properly fitted helmet. So Georgia has a law that anybody under the age of 16 has to wear a helmet while they're riding a bike. We don't write tickets for that. We use it as an educational experience just to make sure that people understand helmet and safety in general is important. So the bus riders, I rode the bus from sixth grade all the way through high school. So you want to teach your children the safety rules and practice those with them as well. At the bus stop, go with them the first few times and teach them the proper way to get on and off the bus. You don't want to stand next to the street. You want to stand about 6 feet away. For a child, that would be 3 giant steps away from the curb. A lot of bus routes now, they run the bus so the kids don't have to cross the street. So the bus will be on the same side of the road as you are. And in those cases, that's great. The bus stops, put the stop sign out, the door opens, the child gets straight on the bus. But if they have to cross the street to get to the bus, teach them to walk on the side of the road until they're at least 10 feet ahead of the bus. The bus driver's got to be able to see them. And then you walk across in front of the arm in front of the bus. Don't cross right in front of the bus. And then get on the bus and enjoy the ride to school. So when I got older and I had kids, I drove them to school every day. I worked night shifts, as I said earlier. So I would get off in the morning at 6 a.m. and I would stay up, get the kids ready for school, and I would drive them. So when you're driving to school, you want to stay alert and avoid distracted driving. Slow down. Leave a little early and plan ahead so you don't have to drive as quickly to get to school. I know where I live now, I have to pass through 2 school zones to get to work. So I just leave early. I leave early and I try to avoid all of that. But to get your kids to school, leave a little early and obey the speed limits in the school zones. If you see kids, make eye contact with them. Again, be nice, wave to them, let them know that it's okay. And never pass a bus loading or unloading children. They'll put the stop sign out, but for some reason, I would imagine almost every day, somebody decides to pass the bus because they're not paying attention, and that's very dangerous. So just as the child crossing the road in front of the bus, that area should be off limits. So the first 10 feet in front of the bus, don't get in that area, and stop far enough back so that in the event that somebody runs into the back of you, you won't run into the back of the bus. So I Googled it. School buses are the safest way for students to travel. Nearly 2/3 of all school bus related fatalities or school-age children occur outside of the school bus. And children need to do their part to stay safe both in and around school buses. So the American School Bus Council offers the following tips. At the bus stop, get there early, at least 5 minutes before the bus is scheduled to arrive. Stand 6 feet or 3 giant steps away from the curb and supervise young children. Around the bus, cross in front of the bus at least 10 feet or 5 giant steps and make contact with the driver before crossing. Never walk behind the bus, and if you drop something near the bus, don't pick it up. Tell the bus driver and get instructions from the driver. When you're getting on and off the bus, wait until the bus is stopped and the doors open before approaching the bus or standing up. Use the handrail ones provided and secure any loose or hanging objects like straps on a backpack or drawstrings on a hood. It's also a good idea to keep things out of the aisle so that nobody trips when they're trying to get on and off the bus. If the bus has seat belts, you want to use them. Stay in your seat, keeping head, arms, and papers inside the bus and talk quietly. And like I said, keep the aisles clear of book bags. Slow down. I mentioned that earlier. Back to school means sharing the road. School days bring congestion. School buses are picking up their passengers, kids on bikes, kids walking, and parents are trying to get their kids off and to school before work. So it's very important for drivers to slow down and pay attention when you're in and around the school zones, especially before and after school. If you're dropping off your kids, follow the school's rules and drop-off procedures. Make sure you know them for the safety of everybody, and the following also apply. Don't double park when you're dropping your kids off. It blocks visibility. People beside you won't be able to see the kids on the other side of your car. Don't unload or load children across the street. You want to be on the school property in the designated area. And if you can carpool with a friend, that's a good idea also. All right, so according to research by the National Safety Council, most of the children who lose their lives in bus-related incidents are 4 to 7 years old, and they're walking. They're either hit by the bus or a motorist passing a stopped school bus. Few precautions go a long way toward keeping children safe. Don't block a crosswalk. I see it all the time, and sometimes I have a bad habit of it too. You're coming up on a stop sign that has a crosswalk, and a lot of times we crowd that stop sign in order to be able to look left and right. So pay attention to the crosswalk and leave that open in case a pedestrian is trying to cross. In a school zone, when the flashers are blinking, stop and yield to pedestrians crossing the crosswalk or intersection. Always stop for a school patrol officer or crossing guard holding up a stop sign. Take extra care to look out for children in school zones, near playgrounds and parks, and all residential areas. Don't honk or rev your engine to scare anybody, even if you have the right of way. Never pass a vehicle stopped for pedestrians. Always use extreme caution to avoid striking pedestrians wherever they may be, no matter who has the right of way. So when it comes to the school buses, if you're driving behind a bus, allow a greater distance than you were if you were driving behind a car. It will give you more time to stop once the yellow lights start flashing. It's illegal in all 50 states to pass a school bus that is stopped to load or unload children. And never pass a bus from behind, even if you're on an undivided road. If the yellow or red lights are flashing and the arm is extended, traffic must stop. Remember that area 10 feet in front of the bus is the most dangerous for children. Stop far enough back to allow the space for them to safely enter and exit the bus. Be alert. Children are often unpredictable, and they tend to ignore hazards and they take risks. So with the bicyclists, they have the same rights and responsibilities as vehicles, but the bikes are harder to see. Children riding bikes create a special problem for drivers because usually they are not able to properly determine traffic conditions. The most common cause of a collision is a driver turning left in front of a bicyclist. So if you're going to pass a bicyclist, proceed in the same direction slow and leave at least 3 feet between your car and the bicycle. When turning left and a bicycle is approaching in the opposite direction, wait for the rider to pass. If you're turning right and a bicycle is approaching from behind or on the right, let the rider go through the intersection first and always use your turn signals. Watch for bike riders turning in front of you without looking or signaling, especially children who have a tendency to do this. Be extra vigilant in school zones and residential neighborhoods. Watch for bikes coming from driveways or behind parked cars, and check your mirrors before opening your door. So I mentioned earlier about distractions. So the cell phones are the number one cause. And we know that texting and driving or being on your phone while you're driving a car is not a good idea. But that also applies to children. If they're walking, they shouldn't be playing video games or texting. They should concentrate on what they're doing and walk to school safely. And as drivers, we also have to pay attention in the school zones. So there's never an occasion that justifies using a phone while driving. One call or text can change everything. A study conducted by the City Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reveals the most common form of travel to and from school for ages 5 to 14 is the family car. That translates into a lot of cars in school zones at the same time. And eliminating all distractions is key to keeping children safe. The National Safety Council is focused on efforts to eliminate distracted walking, specifically walking while using a mobile device. Kids often don't recognize the dangers of distracted walking. Before your kids hang out, remind them of these year-round safety tips. Never walk while texting or talking on the phone. If you're texting, move out of the way of others and stop on the sidewalk. Never cross the street while you're using a cell phone or other electronic device. Don't walk with headphones in your ears. Be aware of your surroundings. Always walk on the sidewalk if one's available. And if you have to walk in the street, you want to face the oncoming traffic. Look left and right, and left again before crossing the street, and cross only at the crosswalks. And remember, by exercising a little care and caution, drivers and pedestrians can coexist safely in school zones. Slow down. Watch for kids on crosswalks. Watch for kids on bicycles. Properly stop for the school buses, and always wear your seatbelts. And that's the end of my presentation.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Sergeant Milford. I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do the schools provide an orientation for parents and students that have to ride the bus? Because this would be great. I mean, even though we all know it, but we don't remember it. Every year we go into it all new.
All new, and the kids are older, and you've got new kids that are starting school for the first
Yes.
time. So I'm not sure what the school provides as far as that is. I know, they do an open house. My son's 24 years old and just graduated college, and he's a teacher at Grovetown Middle School. So he's having to do the bus duty and the car duty and work all the safety related things for picking up and dropping off your kids. So I don't know. I don't know what the school provides as far as an orientation.
Okay, I think Cassandra has a question.
Yeah, I see it on the screen.
Yeah. Is there a system in place for students who have been tagged as walkers don't show up at the school?
Yeah, that would be a question more for the Board of Education. We will get the calls from the parents and who are reporting them as a runaway because they didn't show up to school. But I don't know if the school has something in place to label them as such.
Okay. And Miss Cassandra also is asking, are there bus monitors on the buses?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know I have seen in the past where there's been another adult on the bus. I'm not sure if that's currently what they're doing or not. Another question for Board of Education.
Okay. And then Miss Rosalind has a question. She says, I think I heard him address this, but on a divided highway, do the drivers on the other side of the road, oncoming traffic, have to stop?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the key there is divided highway. So here in Richmond County, some of Windsor Spring is divided and some of Deansbridge is divided. And there may be others. And no, you do not have to stop.
Okay.
You do not. So if it's a grass median in between the traveling lanes going one direction and the traveling lanes going the other direction, you do not have to stop for the school bus.
Okay.
Any other questions?
All right, then. Well, Kevin, I think that wraps it up for us. This was such good information. And every year, you hear about some unfortunate situations. It's not a lot, but you do hear of some, and it could have been prevented.
Yes,
and I just think if it's just a friendly reminder at the beginning of the school year, if our parents could just get this, like you say, you have young kids and then you have older kids, going to school. And I think this is just something that we have to every year almost like recurrent training. Police officers have recurrent training, flight attendants, pilots, and I think we need that.
Well, I checked with our traffic division a couple of days ago, and here in Richmond County, just this year, we've had almost 8,000 traffic crashes.
Wow.
8,000. So as many of those as we can prevent through education or something along those lines, that's great, right? Whatever we can do to keep people safe.
Well, Sergeant David Milford, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and thank you for spending this time with us.
Thank
Kevin?
you very much, Parker. Appreciate you having me.
Take care, everyone.